Hi guys, welcome to my booktube channel. This is another video. My name is Sukaja. I hope you've been doing great and you're keeping safe. These are unprecedented times and it is best if we all stay indoors. And for that reason, I am making a very long video, one that encompasses 13 books that I'll be taking you through, and in the end there will be a bonus book as well, a 14th book that I want to be talking to you about. So these are books that I've amassed over the last 3 months or so, and I hope you find them interesting. I hope you find something that piques your interest and that you'd want to read as well. Let's get started. Recently, when there was that interim before COVID got really bad, I don't know why I'm having this accent, right? So recently, when there was that interim before COVID got really bad, I went out with my friend to an actual bookstore and I purchased some books, and I also have books that were sent to me as gifts and from publishers, which I'm going to show you in this video. The first of the books that I have here is Burn After Writing, which is actually a diary by Sharon Jones, and this is a book that was given to me by my friend Mona. You might have seen her in one of the videos here. This book is basically one that encourages people to look inwards and self-reflect and also introspect. So in this book there are a lot of questions from, what are your favorite bands and what are your favorite albums, like what is your plan for the next 34 hours, or to questions that go really deep, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with life, and random things. Religion in 3 words, what are they? And just there's a lot of blank space, so you get to write about stuff. I would definitely recommend gifting this to somebody. It's really great if you want to get to know yourself better and be dead honest with yourself, because this is the one place where you're not allowed to be anything but honest. You have to write the exact truth to these questions, and it's a really thin journal. You can just carry it around in your purse wherever you go and write some. You randomly open a page and then you write in it. As you can see, I've written in it. I'm not going to show it to you guys. It's really nice. It's like a very unique journal, and I'm really excited to write in it. So that was that. The next book I received as a gift for my birthday. This is Blonde Roots by Bernardine Evaristo. Bernardine is known for having written Girl, Woman, Other, which actually won the Booker Prize last year, along with Testaments by Margaret Atwood. Anyway, Blonde Roots is about a woman who is known as Doris, and she ends up getting captured from England and transported across the Atlantic to an island in Africa, in the African subcontinent, and there she is made to slog under the sun and work in a sugarcane field, just like the slaves did back in the time of African American slavery. So this is sort of like a reversal, but of course it's based on England as the perpetrator of colonialism. Super interesting, definitely up my street, and I'm really keen to see how she pulls this off, because there are so many ways that she might not be able to cover all the different aspects and make sure there's an exact reversal, a proper reversal, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where that happens. So there's like this African chief who is sort of ruling the island and everything, and she has to submit to her, and basically she misses being at home, celebrating English festivals, being with her family and things like that. So there's a sense of superiority that the Africans have and stuff. I'm really excited to read this. This is something I'm looking forward to. The next book, Confessions of Frannie Langdon by Sarah Collins. Now, forget the accent, I don't know why I have it. But this book is about Frannie Langdon, who is from Jamaica, and she is taken to the UK where she's made to work for this man and woman as a maid, but then something goes wrong and she murders them, or the claims have it that she allegedly murdered them, and we need to figure out why she did what she did, and she confesses. She has a chance to speak out and talk about her story, which is what this book is about. Set in 1826 during the Victorian era, and I'm really looking forward to getting lost in this atmospheric novel that I'm expecting. They accuse her of being a seductress and a whore, and there may even be truth to it, but we don't know. And at the same time, there are certain things that crop up in her confessions, her actual feelings. Perhaps she had feelings for her masters or mistress, and that's something we're going to look at in this book. So that's exciting. Fever Dream by Samantha Scweblin. Samantha is from Buenos Aires, and she is a writer who has written Mouthful of Birds, a collection of short stories that I absolutely enjoyed. They were very surreal and phantasmagorical, and I really liked them. Now, this book is about a young woman named Amanda who lies dying in a rural hospital, and then this boy is with her, but he's not her son and she's not his mother. But they launch into this sort of storytelling activity that entails a lot of different things. They talk about the looming environmental and spiritual catastrophes in the world and the ties that bind a parent to a child, and these things are explored by her. Supposedly a very surreal experience reading this book, and I'm looking forward to doing that in the days to come. I picked this up when I went to Goa just before the pandemic got really bad, and visited the Literati bookshop where you can buy really nice books for less than 500 rupees, 200 rupees at most. The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeil. I noticed that in this haul I seem to have a lot of books pertaining to the Victorian era. But anyway, I like historical fiction, and maybe this is the best time to get lost in a different era. I don't know when I'll read these books. I am just showing you the books that I have here. This was sent to me as a gift for my birthday by the book club that I'm part of. This is set in 1850, again the 19th century in England. This is in London, and on a crowded street there's a doll maker named Iris Whittle who bumps into the artist Louis Frost. And Louis is actually a pre-Raphaelite painter, and she wants to learn from him how to paint, and he wants her to be a model for his paintings. So she makes a trade-off. She says, if you teach me how to paint, then I will model for you. And then they decide to get on this agreement and pact and work on it. That's because he wants to have his paintings exhibited at this really huge show at the Royal Academy that's soon to happen. At the same time, there's this other man named Silas Reed who becomes obsessed with her. He's a man who's interested in curiosities and he collects them, but he gets interested in the doll maker, Iris Whittle, and then there starts to be some sort of triangle, and that's something that sounds interesting. As this obsession grows, it's only a matter of time before they meet. So that's what this book is about. Sounds intriguing, looking forward again. The next book that I have here is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I have never read any of Sarah Waters' books. The funny story about this is that I had a copy of Fingersmith with me. It didn't have blue inked pages, it was just a regular copy. But then me and my friend, we went to a bookshop the other day and I was like, oh my god, I must have this copy. Because it looks like the kind of copy I would want to get lost in and read. Because it has blue inked pages and it's the Essentials collection by Hatchet. So I also have another book that is exactly like this and I would like to keep them side by side. So I decided to pick this up, and this is again set in 1862. There are 3 books in this pile that from the Victorian era in England. So this is about Sue Trinder, who is orphaned at birth and she grows up among petty thieves. So why does this give me a lot of Oliver Twist vibes? This is set in London in 1862. She is brought up by Mrs. Thuxby and her family. Family is in double quotes. I don't know why. Could be intriguing. But from the moment she draws breath, Sue's fate is linked to that of another orphan growing up in a gloomy mansion nearby. So it's only a matter of time before they meet and things progress. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This does not tell me much about what to expect, but I am still keen because I've heard rave reviews about Fingersmith. They say if you're looking to start with Sarah Waters, you must pick up Fingersmith because it's that good. And I love historic fiction, and this is Victorian England, so I should definitely just make it a Victober read, but make it all about not reading classics, but actually read books set in 1800. So maybe I can start a book club. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, where we all read books set during the Victorian era. The next book I have here is Just Kids by Patti Smith. It's very popular and I've been meaning to read this for a long time. This is about her and her relationship with Robert Mapplethorpe, who is a photographer. She made an album called Horses, which became one of the 100 top albums you must listen to. It was on that list, and Robert's photographs are featured in that album, and she's also an artist. She is also a poet. Her book is supposed to be very poetic and very well written. This book is set in 1969, and this was the time when a lot of rock and roll and rebellion was happening, and her contributions to that are evident in this book. It starts off as a love story, but it ends as an elegy, which is not a very nice thing, but then I'm looking forward to reading it anyway because it's going to be sad at the end. But let's see. Johnny Depp has given a quote at the back, and she seems like this really amazing person, and I'd love to listen to the album as well once I've finished the book, share my thoughts on the same with you guys. It is set in New York City, and it talks about the kind of lifestyle that people led, sexual politics, art, poetry that were colliding, exploding during that time. It's a portrait of 2 young artists, so I'm really looking forward to underlining my way through this book, which I'm most likely going to do. I finally garner the guts to buy When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. This book is about a doctor who was a neurosurgeon and he has a Stanford degree. Suddenly he comes to know that he has stage 4 lung cancer and it's too late to do anything and he must confront his own mortality. But throughout his career he has been wondering about how organisms live and eventually they'll have to die. But what does it mean to have a meaningful life? And he wants to find out the answer to that, but then he needs to reflect about stuff, and that is there in his book, his reflections. Since I've been reading a lot of really morbid stuff off late, if you follow me on Instagram, you know. So I read a medical book where a doctor talks about her life and working at the NHS and dealing with patients on a daily basis. I also read another book which is about cremation and the whole politics of cremation in the US. So I've been reading those kind of books right now. So I think this is likely to be picked up before the end of this month, if anything. Let me know if you've read this. I have always been wanting to read this. I've heard rave reviews. It's just a matter of guts because I've heard that people came out crying and it's kind of intense and you're going to be thinking about it at night, which you don't want to do, but then you might end up doing because this is that sort of book. So anyway, I'm going to brace myself and get through this one shortly and let you know what I thought. The next book that I have here is Mothering Sunday. This is a book I bought in the airport. It has French flaps, which I absolutely love, and they can double up as a bookmark, as Jen Lee Campbell over at a channel pointed out. So this is set in 1924. It is March 30th, which is Mothering Sunday. It is observed in the UK on a yearly basis, and on Mothering Sunday, mothers are visited. And this is about Jane Fairchild, who is an orphan and a housemaid. She has nobody to visit. And this day is one that will shape her future. So we have to find out the events of the day. So I recently bought a book from Persephone Books, and I've talked about it on the channel in another video. I forget the name, but it's about a woman. It's all about the events that happened during one particular day in her life. And she's quite old, and then she learns how to let go and be less of a stickler and learns to live life like there's no tomorrow, and that's really fun. So I thought this book was going to be something similar, and that's why I picked this up. I forget the name of the book, but I'll link it in the description later on, so check it out. The next book I have here is by Sarah Bakewell, and this is At the Existentialist Cafe, Freedom, Being, and Apricot Cocktails. So I bought this the moment I saw this on the Champaga website because it is an exploration into existentialism, and I hope that this book breaks it down and goes deep into it and also explains it. I've always been a fan of Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. I actually visited the cafe that they hung out in Paris on a trip 2 or 3 years ago, and it was amazing. And I also visited their graves in the cemetery in Paris. So this book is set in Paris in turn of 1932-33. 3 young friends meet over apricot cocktails at the Bec de Gall bar on the Rue Montparnasse. They are Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir, and their friend Raymond Allen, who opens their eyes to a radical new way of thinking. So it's about the birth of existentialism, deep diving into existentialism, and I hope this book breaks it down and makes it very accessible. I've already started reading this. I'm on page 50 right now. So I have of late taken to reading a lot of non-fiction, and therefore you will see some in this pile. This takes a while. Like, non-fiction definitely takes you some time to read. So I will report back before the end of the year with my thoughts on this. Next book I have here is Royals by Emma Forrest. This was given to me by my friend Sridhar. This is set in 1981 in London, and it's about a man who's interested in art and he's into fashion as well, and he is still questioning his sexuality. It is likely that he is gay, but we don't know that. And when he ends up in hospital after being brutally attacked by his father, he meets Jasmine, who's an heiress. She's intoxicating and fabulous. So this book is got quotes from David Nichols and Emma Jane Unsworth. Emma Jane Unsworth writes millennial fiction. I have her book Adults with me here, which I hope to read soon. David Nichols wrote One Day, which is another book that a lot of people are into polls about, but I haven't read that yet. But this is really out of my league usually. Like, I don't read books like this, but I think since my friend gifted this to me, I will make the effort to read it because I think it's going to be good. This is about a friendship that blossoms between these two characters and how Stephen finds himself swept into a hedonistic world, one that pursues pleasure, basically. The next book that I have on the pile is Afterlives by Abdul Gurnah. This was gifted to me by Bloomsbury India kindly. I have already started reading this, but I am yet to finish it. This is about Africa when it was colonized by Belgium and Germany, England as well, at a time when pieces of Africa were distributed among these countries. It is in the early part of the 19th century, very, very earlier on. And this is about a man named Ia who was stolen from his parents, and then he was returned to his village after many years. And he realizes that his parents are no more, and his sister, her hand in marriage has been given to somebody he doesn't know, and he has to confront all of this and deal with it. This is also about a man named Hamza, and he was not stolen, but he was sold. He was brought up by an officer. Returning to the town of his childhood, Hamza wants to work, but he meets Afia, who is the sister of the other guy named Iyas. It's about revolt and being colonized and how it affected the common folk back in the day. The conflict in Europe opens up another arena in East Africa where a brutal war devastates the landscape. So looking forward to reading this as well. Lovely cover, must say. I have to give it a few points for that. Next book is There's Gunpowder in the Air by Manoranjan Bayapari, and this is translated by Arunava Sinha. This was gifted to me by Nikita over on Instagram. I have started a new IGTV series. It's an interview series on Instagram, and I've interviewed Nikita about a range of topics where we talk about regional literature in particular. This is regional literature. Do catch up on that. Go check my Instagram for that. I will not be posting those on YouTube. So this is set during the 70s when the Naxalbari movement was gathering speed. In Bengal, young men and women have left their homes. They want to return the land that belonged to the farmers back to the farmers. This is mainly about 5 people who are put in jail. They are Naxals, and one of them turns out to be put there purposely as a mole to spy on the goings on and to make sure that these guys don't come up with revolting ideas like breaking out of the jail. But these guys do want to break out of the jail. So do they do that or not? And what is it like to live in those political times back in Bengal? So this sounds really amazing. I've heard rave reviews about this on Instagram, and I'm definitely open-minded to reading other books other than my usual niche. Let me know if this is something you've already read, or any of the books that I've mentioned here are some things you've already read. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and let me know where you think I should start as well. Factfulness by Hans Rosling. So this book is about how we sometimes don't know what to worry about. We think that there are a lot of facts out there and we just get worried by numbers, and these things might not even be true. They might not really be as bad as the situation is projected to be. So this book is about just worrying about things that really need to be worried, but mainly it talks about the things that are really making a difference and how situations aren't as bad as we perceive, and that actually there's some hope in a lot of situations. It talks about figures, facts, and like the global population, is it increasing? How many girls are finishing school? And we get answers wrong sometimes. There's a quiz in the first few pages of this book, and I actually did the quiz and I scored very badly. I mean, despite everything, I thought that I'd be able to know answers to a lot of these questions. Education and birth rate and death rate, and anyway, I'm definitely hoping to read this and get enlightened. Everyone's saying if you're reading non-fiction, read this. This is the one book that everyone should be reading and have on their shelves. So I'm definitely planning to make my way through this shortly. I had so much fun making this video. Let me know what you guys thought. There's a huge pile of books on the floor right now, and I have to get cleaning that and putting them back in my shelves, and also organizing my TBR for the days of quarantine that are ahead of us. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what are the books that you are planning to read from this pile. What are you currently reading? Comment in the comment section, and I will be happy to interact with you. I will be back with more bookish content. In the meantime, please stay home, stay safe, and stay sane by reading lots of books. I will see you very soon. Bye.